Okay, so let's start on our Vellum simulation. We need a DOP network, and we're gonna need the import geo. I'm just gonna call this render for now, render grains. Inside the DOP network, we have our output, but we also need our Vellum object, and we need our Vellum source, a Vellum solver, a gravity, and a merge for our colliders. So let's hook this up like this, the layout. And we need to assign our Vellum source. So our subpath will be grain source out geo, and our constraint path will be out constraint. Okay, so if we now press play, our grains will fall through the floor again. So we need a ground plane, and we'll merge it in under the gravity, and we can turn the display proxy off. So now the grains will fall on the ground. Whoops, it doesn't. Why doesn't it? Because we have to set this to mutual and collide there, that's fine. Okay, so now it will work. There we go. Now if we ghost our ship in, we can see that it doesn't interact. So we need to fix that. So let's go to our ship geo, and we need to make a VDB for our collider. Let's hide the grains. So we'll say VDB from polygons. And it doesn't have a lot of detail right now, and that's because our voxel count is too high. So we'll lower this, and you can see we get more detail. Now one thing that is kind of a problem is that when you do a VDB from polygons, sometimes the model gets bigger than the original. So I'll try to show you. Maybe, no, so I'll just show them one by one. So as you can see, turn this off. The VDB is slightly bigger. And this will not match up when we use the collide. So we have to make it a little bit smaller, and we can do that with a VDB reshape. Whoops. VDB reshape. No, not resample. VDB reshape. So we'll hook this up, and we'll say erode. So now it should be the same size. Let's check it. Okay, so yeah, that's better than the bigger VDB from polygons. And it also lowers the voxels a bit, because on here we had 2.3 million, almost 2.4 million, and now we have 2.1 million. So that's a little bit better. Let's make a null. We'll call this ship VDB out. All right. So we'll make this a red color and lay it out. Okay, so now if we go back to our simulation, I'm gonna call this grain sim, by the way. Oh, did our source screw up? Oh no, it's right there. Okay, so now let's add in our ship static object. We'll hook it into the merge, and let's assign it. So our object path is our ship geo, and our subpath, where's my ship geo, is our ship geo out. Now also on the collisions we have to set our proxy volume. So proxy volume, and this will be the VDB we just made. So ship VDB out, accept, and we have to say that this is a volume sample. Okay. So now when we play this, the ship interacts with the grains. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Let's add a little bit more grains and do a playbook. So we're going to our grain source, go to our vellum constraints grain, and we'll add some more grains. So let's do 0.07. Let's see what it gives us. It takes a time to compute, but we can also turn off the jitter skill, and it will be quite a bit faster that way. Okay. Before we continue, let's add a camera. And let's do the settings on this as well right now. So we want 1920 by 1080 camera. I like a wider angle, so let's just do 24 now. And that's fine. Okay, I'm gonna call this camera 1. So this will be our camera now. Let's reposition it. I'm gonna turn on the grid here so we don't see the ship right away. Let's go into our grain sim. And let's do a playbook. Playbook 1 to 70. Let's do, yeah, 1 to 75 is okay. Let's see what this gives us. Okay, so a couple of things. We didn't change the substep to be 5 or 10. So it's still at its default 1, and you can see the simulation is not stable at all. So we have to change that. Another thing is, I think my 24mm camera is a little bit too wide. And this took some time already, so I think I'm gonna decrease the particle amount for the next test. So in our vellum solver, the substeps are still at 1, so we'll change this to 10. And in the camera, I want this to be a 35 instead. Oh, this is fine. Okay. What else did I say? Oh yeah, I want a little less particles. So we'll do 9, so we have 100K. What happens if we do 1? Okay, so no, let's do 0.09. Okay, going here. And let's make this the first flipbook again, and let's see what this looks like. So this rendered pretty quick, and this is looking a lot better. It's definitely because of the substeps now, so there's more calculations for the grains. A couple of things I'm going to change is I'm going to add some more friction on the floor. Maybe add some friction on the plane, but not a whole lot more. And I'm also going to increase the particles again, because I want a little bit more particles. And what I'm looking for right now is just a good base animation before we start playing with the attraction weight and the repulsion weight. So let's change a couple of things. So I'm going to increase the particles. I don't know what we had before, but I'm gonna do 200,000 now. Okay. On the ground plane, we go to physical. I also want to eliminate bounce. Let's do the friction to 5. Static object, this is our, I can call this our ship. Let's go to physical. I also don't want any bounce. And I'll up the friction to 2.